Welcome back everyone. Welcome to my channel, the AGD Zone. In today's video, we are focusing on a grade 12 course drawing question 2, which is solid geometry. And if you can check our question, we are given a front view and the top view of a right regular hexagonal pyramid and a right square pyramid, meaning in this question we have two solids, as you can see. Okay, and then we have cutting plane SS. These two solids do not touch. Okay, if you can look here at our top view, these two solids do not touch. You can see a space between these two solids. Okay, and then these solids are both cut by cutting plane SS from here to here. Okay, and then we are instructed to draw to scale 1:1 the following views of two solids. The given front view, which is here, a sectional top view at the bottom of front view, and a sectional right view. So when I get to this instruction, I always use my hashtag method, because since I know this question falls under first angle orthographic projection, I now know my front view will be above my top view, and then my right view will be on the left, and then my left view will be on the right. Okay, so now I know I will have to have enough space on this side for my right view. Okay, and then we also need to draw the true shape of the cut surface of the hexagonal pyramid. Okay, planning is essential. Planning is essential. I would like to emphasize this thing of planning is essential, because most of the learners, they jump into the question paper with a mindset that only if I can draw. They avoid this thing of reading the instructions and what is written here. Okay, guys, if you struggle to plan, you will struggle to start most of your drawings, because without planning you will never go anywhere. Okay, so if you plan your drawing before drawing it, you will have an idea of what to do next. Okay, and then you need to show all constructions and show all hidden detail. Okay, so now if we can check, we have our XY line, and then a distance from our XY line to where our top of right regular hexagonal pyramid is a distance of 15. Okay, so we will need to do that. Let's start with our XY line here. Here's our XY line, and then with our XY line, we now know a distance from XY line XY line will be 15. Okay, you can simply measure 15 going downwards. Okay, then on that 15 you can create another line that is parallel to our XY. So now we know with this construction line we just did, we are somewhere here. Okay, and then they tell us that our right regular hexagonal pyramid is at an angle of 45 here in our top view. Okay, so on this line we can start our right regular hexagonal pyramid. Okay, and then they give us a side length of the hexagon, which is 45. Okay, so you take your square, you measure 45 on this line we just created. Okay, and then from here, what do we need to do? Because we are drawing a hexagonal pyramid, and then we have a side length of 45, we can use this method. You stand at one point, you scribe an arc, stand on another point, you scribe an arc. Okay, let me finish this one. And then when you have your arc, you simply construct a circle standing on that arc you just created. Okay, and then you go back to your point, you scribe at the circumference of the circle. That's where your points will be. Okay, then now you can join all your points with a construction saw, also with a construction. Why am I not using my solid line here? Because this top view is still going to be cut, so I don't know which part is going to be removed. Okay, so I'm just doing this with my construction. And then we check our question again. Why is this lines hidden detail? If we can check, this hexagonal pyramid is upside down. Okay, here's the apex at the bottom and then the base is at the top. Okay, so that's why when we are coming from this side at the top here, if I'm looking from the top, I won't be able to see these lines. Okay, because they are at the bottom. So that's why they used hidden details. Okay, so hidden detail here. You see guys, planning is very important. If you plan your drawing, nothing is going to stand in your way. Trust me, I'm telling you. Nothing is going to stand in your way. Okay, so now we are done with our top view of our hexagonal pyramid. So now we have our hexagonal pyramid. We can label our hexagonal pyramid. You can label using alphabets. You can label using numbers. It's up to you. Okay, as long as you understand your numbering. This is my A, and when I label, I like to label clockwise because I'm familiar with clock. Okay, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. Because my name is S, I would like to label this middle point S. Okay, and then once I have all these points, I can construct them vertically upwards so that I can know where these points exactly are at my front view. Okay, constructing all the points here. E, A, S, B, okay, this one, D, and C. Okay, so looking here at my question, I can see that we are given a height of the hexagonal pyramid, which is 70. So using my set square on this line of S, I can measure 70 here, and now 70 will be here at 14. Okay, and then from here I can just construct a horizontal line also going on my right. Is fine. So now I know on this line I have F, and on this line I have E, and then on this line I have A. Here's my S, and then on this one I have D, I have B, and then I have C. You see how I labeling, guys, because I know most of you don't like to label, and labeling is very important when it comes to solid geometry. It's very, very important, guys. Okay, so you also label on your drawing. Okay, so now we will need to check if we are viewing our drawing coming from this side. We will only see this point F. It will be a solid line. Also line E to S will be a solid line, and also line D to S it will be a solid line, and lastly line C to S will be a solid line. Line A and line B will be hidden details because when we are coming from this side, they will be at the back, so hence they are hidden details. Okay, don't be confused why they used hidden details on the drawing, guys. Don't be confused. This is our hidden details, and then E is solid. Here, why am I using my solid lines and not construction lines? Okay, if we can check, this front view is not going to be changed. Everything that we draw here will be left the way it is. Okay, and then what we need to check, we have our right square pyramid with cutting plane SS. Okay, and then they show us a square with 45. What does that mean? Okay, let me tell you. This thing means that the whole square, every side length of our square is 45. Okay, that's what you will need to understand. If you see a square number, just know that your square, all the sides are equal, which is 45. Okay, and if you can check here, our square touches our hexagonal pyramid. So we will need to measure 45 somewhere here, and then our 45 must touch our hexagonal pyramid. Okay, let me see. 55 will be my 45. Okay, you can see somewhere here. Okay, not here. Here I used 1 as my 0 because this ruler doesn't have a 0 that I'm used to. Okay, 55 will be my 45, and then I know that perpendicular to my xy, this will be 45. Okay, and then I can now come this side, then leave this side length of 45. Here will be my 45 again. Okay, let me just remove this one. Here's my square, and then I can put my diagonal lines here. I can put my diagonal lines, and also coming to this side, and then I can now label my square, my right square pyramid, which I can label with numbers because here I have labeled with alphabet. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on my XY line they tell me that my cutting plane is 10 millimeter away from my right square pyramid on my right hand side, so I can simply measure 10 coming here, and then once I have my 10 there, I can use my 30 degrees set square because the angle that is used here on the cutting plane is 30. Can use my set square and then stand on that 10 I just made, and then confidently so I can do my cutting plane. Okay, this is S. I need to label it. Okay guys, so now what is left of us to do? We need to do our top view of the right square pyramid. Okay, we'll need to construct from the front view there. Okay, and you can see that where our hexagonal pyramid is starting, this will be our base of our right square pyramid. Okay, so here we now have point 1 and point 4 on this side. Okay, because if you are looking from the top, this is our eye here, we're gonna see point 1 at the top and point 4 is at the bottom. Okay, and then here we're gonna see point 2, point 3 at the bottom. Okay, and then we also need to construct this midpoint here, and then they give us a measurement from the base to that midpoint of 50. Okay, so you can simply measure your 50 here. Okay, then you can join all your points. Using your construction because somehow some of the things we draw here are going to be removed. Okay, and then now what is left of us is that we need to cut. Okay, before we cut, can you please put our 45-degree angle here on XY, and then yeah, let's put our 45-degree angle here so that we can finish with the right view, and then when we cut, we'll cut at the same time. Okay, and then from our, what is this, from our top view, okay, let me just create a new XY line away from this one here, because this is not my XY line. Any distance away from my hexagonal pyramid. Okay, let me say this is my X, this is my Y, and then I can create my 45-degree angle here. Okay, so that my my hexagonal pyramid on the right does not touch with my hexagonal pyramid on the front view. Okay, so now we can take our point of the hexagonal pyramid here on our top view to our 45-degree angle, and then as soon as it touches our 45-degree angle, we construct them vertically upwards. Okay, we take each and every point, take C, let me take F, okay, and then you can take them vertically upwards, all of them. I forgot to take the middle point S. I forgot to take the middle point S as my apex, because we also have point S on our front view. Okay, here's my middle point S. Then my S will be here because this is S. And then I know again at the top there, this will be, here will be point D. And then on this line we'll have point A, we'll have point C, S, we'll have point F, and we will have point B, and this last one will have point A. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we will need to do what we did here to show all these hidden detail lines here. When you are viewing our top view coming from this side, we will see the right square pyramid first, and then we also see our right hexagonal pyramid. Okay, so now we will need to construct our right regular square pyramid. Okay, this is in the same line with A. Okay, and then also from our front view like this, and then as soon as the ones we took from top view touches our cutting plane, we construct them vertically upwards. This will be our apex. Our apex meets with this apex here. Okay, and then this one meets here and here, and then here we will have 1 and 2 at the top, then at the bottom we will have 4 and 3. Okay, then now we can construct this with our construction. Coming from this side, let me use my marker so you can understand. Coming from this side, we are going to see this portion here, okay, which will be this line here. Okay, and then coming from the top, we are going to see this portion here, which is this whole thing here at the top. You understand? That's how you are going to see this thing here. So now we will need to finish our right regular hexagonal pyramid on our right view. Okay, if we are looking from this side, A, we are going to see it coming to S, also B, also C, and also D. Okay, E and F will be hidden details because they are at the back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so our A is going to be solid, and when it passes here on our right regular hexagonal pyramid, to be hidden detail until here, construction line, then D, construction line, E will be hidden detail, C will be construction line, hidden detail, construction line, and then F will be hidden detail. Okay, and we can join our base. So now what is left of us is that we must cut our views, which is the right view, because they need a sectional top view and a sectional right view. If the given front view, we are done. So let's focus on cutting now. So when cutting, we will need to check where is our cutting plane going through on our front view. You can see our cutting plane is going through here on the base, also is going through this line, also through this line, and through these lines, okay, until here. And also it is going through this line, and it is also going through here, and through here. Okay, so where it goes through, we will need to use our set square, and then vertical downwards, so perpendicular to our xy, we construct where it goes through, vertical downwards. And when you can see here, it's cutting on our base. Okay, this is line F. Okay, here's cutting on our base, and then you can see we have FE, FA. Okay, and then we have FE on our top, FA, meaning on line FA is cutting, and it's cutting also on line FE. This is where my cutting plane is going through. Okay, and then on this line, let me see this line. This is line ES. Check. This is line ES. And between line ES somewhere here, it's cutting also at the top. Okay. This is line ES. So it's cutting here. It's not cutting at the base, it's cutting on line ES. Okay. And then this one is line AS. Okay, somewhere here at the top, line AS, it's cutting here. So you do that until the last point. Here is line DS. I'm coming to my top, looking for line DS. It's cutting here. No, DS is here. This is line DS. It's cutting here, not here. Okay. Then I'm also going to another point, which is point B. Point B is cutting here. And then I go to my top view to look for point BS. Okay, you see the importance of labeling this thing, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't label, you are going to get lost. Trust me, I'm telling you, you are going to get lost. And it's also going through line CS. Here's our line CS. It's cutting here. And then now you have all your points. You just need to combine them. Okay, now you can combine them using your solid line. Combine them using your solid line. Combine this one also. Okay, because we are looking at the top, this portion here that is left, it's like this one here, we are going to see it, which is here. We are going to see this one. Okay, it's going to be left here. Please don't do this, guys. Please don't do this. I'm just doing this to show you guys so that you can understand. Okay, and from here to here, from here to here. Okay, And then now you are done. Okay, this part here you can leave it because you have already used your solid lines to show that this is the part that is going to remain. And then what is left of you is to section your right regular hexagonal pyramid, okay, using your 45-degree angle. Can section any direction you want. Can section this way, can section this way. It's fine as long as you section your right regular hexagonal pyramid. Now we are done on the right regular hexagonal pyramid. So now we are cutting our right square pyramid, which is, if you can look here, our cutting plane goes through line 1 and line 4, and line 1 and line 4 on the top view, it's a point here, meaning it's cutting here. Okay, this line, if you can take it vertical downwards, you'll see it's cutting on line 1 and 4. Okay, and also you can see our cutting plane goes through line 4, 5, line 4 to 5. Between line 4 to 5, we'll also label here 5. It's cutting here. Okay, and when it's cutting there, you also need to check it's also cutting line 3, 5. Between line 3 and 5, the top view, this is 3 here and 5, it's cutting here. Okay, then you also need to check this one, it's cutting between line 2 and line 3, which is this point here. And then you join all your points. With a solid line. Okay, and then what's left of you is to section using your 45-degree angle. These lines can be any distance, between them. You don't have to have a specific distance. Okay, and then now, since we are done with this is our top view, sectional top view, we are going to cut our sectional right view. Okay, so now what we did on this side, we also need to do on this side. Okay, we need to check where our cutting plane is going through on our right regular hexagonal pyramid and on our right regular square pyramid. Okay, because here at the base, when we want to go this side, you will not see where it's cutting somewhere on this line. We will have to refer to our top view. So since we have these points here, we can use them to know where our cutting plane is cutting on our right view. Okay, so you can quickly transfer them to your 45-degree angle, and then as soon as they reaches there, you construct them vertical downward, upwards, and then you will know that this cutting plane is cutting here, and also this cut plane is cutting here, meaning you have point 1 and point 2 here. Okay, and also you need to check where is your cutting plane going through. Line ES, you construct it horizontally to the left, and then you look for line ES. Line ES is here, it's cutting there. Then this is line AS. Line AS is cutting here, and then you look for line DS. This is DS is cutting here. Okay, and then this is line BS. Line B is here. Okay, I never took this one, and it's going to be visible. Okay, this is line B. Okay, then line BS is cutting here. Okay, and then the last one, we have line CS. This is line C. It's cutting here. Okay, then you can join all your points. You can join all your points with a solid line. Because we are not done, you can quickly finish this construction lines with solid lines. Okay. Actually, before you finish them, let's go cut our right square pyramid. Line 1 4. This is 1 4 1 2 3 4. Okay, 1 between line 1 and 4, cutting plane cuts here, and then between line 4 5, this is line 4, this is line 0.5 4 5, and then somewhere between here it's cutting here. Okay, and then we also cut here on line 5 3. This is line 3 5. Okay, it's cutting also here, and then it's also cutting on line 4, line 3 2 2 3, which is 2 and 3. It's cutting here. Okay, so you can connect all your points, then this one with this one. Okay, you can connect this last one here, because if you are looking from this side, this portion that you see here, this portion that you see here is going to be left. You are also going to see it, which will be this portion here. Okay, this portion is going to be left, so we also need to use our solid lines here. Okay, then that's when we can use our 45-degree angle to section. You can finish this hexagonal pyramid also here, dark line. Those hidden details, you can leave them there. Okay, because remember, you need to show all hidden details. Then you can section using your 45 angle. Can section. Okay, let me section this one this way. Okay, now since we are done with sectional top view and sectional right view, we are left with the true shape of the cut surface. Okay, so what I can advise you is that perpendicular to your cutting plane, you can construct lines perpendicular to your cutting plane. Okay, then you simply know, or they say they want a cutting plane of the hexagonal pyramid only. Okay, so we can simply go here at the top. Perpendicular. The way I placed my set square, guys, that's perpendicular. Okay, this set square is sitting perpendicular at an angle of 90 degrees perpendicular. Let me just extend these lines. Okay, and then because I'm dealing with a cutting plane, I will need a parallel line to my cutting plane. Okay, I will need a parallel line to my cutting plane. Let me create it here. Okay, and then I can name it X, Y. Okay, so now what's left of me is that I will need to use my method of point XY, point XY. Okay. Oh, point XY, point XY, point. Okay. This is how am I using my method. I will need to take this point where my cutting plane has cut on my top view, extend on my XY, go on this point XY, and that's my point. Okay, and then again on my XY line, I will need to fetch this other point because on this line we have 2 points. Okay, I have to fetch the other point. Okay. Then point standing on my XY, this point standing on my XY, we have a point there. You can see. Let me show you. Standing on my XY, you have a point somewhere there. Okay. Let me just extend this line because you can see this cutting plane is going to be out of my paper. Okay, then moving on, we are coming on this point because it's the furthest away from my compass, so we can simply use this one. My point standing on XY, point standing on XY here. Then on this line I scribe an arc. Okay, I forgot this point. Okay, then I'm going back on this one, extending my compass until this point, standing on XY, point XY, point. Okay, I also need to extend this line here when it's cutting here. Okay, and then I'm only left with 1, 2, 3 points. Okay, I'm only left with 3 points. So coming on this point here, point standing on my XY, point standing on XY, I do my point. Okay, and then coming on this one, I'm standing on my XY here, point standing on my XY, point standing on my XY here, and this line will be on this line it will be my point. Okay, then again this last point will be point standing on my XY, point standing on my XY. Okay, that's how you follow your points when you want a true shape. Okay, then if a solid line, you can quickly join all these points here because they specified that they only want a true shape of the hexagonal pyramid only. Then there, then so here. Okay, then we are not done yet. We are not done. You can use your 45 set square to section that. Section this using your 45 set square. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of today's video. So if you found this video very helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.